Aloha, friends! Welcome back to the Kahuna Lair for Kahuna Help. I am always a Kahuna. So, sorry if you tried to come in for Kahuna Reads on Sunday or Kahuna Quiet yesterday. Just not feeling myself the last couple days, so I got some rest. Back to it today. Still kind of pushing through a few things, but definitely better than the last 2 days. So I'm back at it. So Kahuna Help. Today what I'm going to be working on is map pins. Telling you, good day, Kahuna. Yes, I'm in the middle of the night again, so here I am. Welcome. And something that you are actually familiar with maybe is creating map pins for World Anvil. I'm not a big fan of the teardrop style or upside down teardrop style map pin. They work for some maps, but I wanted to add a little bit more flavor, a little bit more depth, something that was more singular to me. So I had some ideas and I started knocking one out. Now, here's the caveat. I've never done a custom map pin on World Anvil, so I don't know if this is going to work. I don't even know if it's a thing. So I'm going to be literally learning as we go. So hopefully, if you've never done it, you can learn with me. If you have done it, okay. You'll probably tell me where I'm making all of my mistakes, which, you know, are plenty to be made, I'm sure. So normally these are fairly small icons. I wanted something a little bigger, something that was see-through, something that looked like not a bullseye but a reticle. I have my own set of settlement markers that I slap on my maps. Haven't tried putting on those map pins though. Normally use invisible markers. Okay, well that makes sense. I wanted to do this so I could have them across my maps. So, you know, I could have all of my maps use these pins and have them be movable should I need to, and scale up and down. So, here's what I've been working on for about the last half hour, and that is what I want it to look like. So instead of a pin that points down, this pin aims right in the middle and says, this is what you're looking at. I'm probably going to create a couple different versions of these kind of pins, because some of them I actually want to be labels. And this is a little too tight for a label, so I'm going to need something a little bigger. Also, this is much bigger than the average map pin. The average map pin on World Anvil is about, let's see, where was it? I have my notes here, 35 by 60. This one is actually, right now, 150 by 250. So these are going to be large. But again, that's what I wanted. So what I did was I created two layers here. One layer is, of course, the upper layer. And this was really simple. In Affinity Photo, I used, they actually call it the donut tool for shapes, which allows you to make a nice, you know, nice ring, applied a 3D effect to it, you know, colored it, applied a 3D effect. So I got that nice ring color. And then I just made a triangle and repeated it around the circle, lined them up, and applied the 3D effect to that. So now I have the 4 points. Then what I did was I selected all of the blank areas on this, inverted that selection, so it was essentially just a mask of the actual icon or the actual graphic, created a new layer, filled that in with black, blurred it a bit, and I got my shadow. So I've got a nice looking shadow with that. So now the question is, you know, I might be, well, I'm going to play with what as it is now and see how it looks. I might have to come back and adjust. I can share one of my maps with the pins that I use on all my Mesa maps. If you want to take a look, maybe get something. That would be awesome, Delian. That would be awesome. Meanwhile, I have already saved the two files, you have to save them as separate files. The icon for the pin, and then the shadow for the pin. They are, I hear a dog. They are two different images that you need to have for the pin. The icon and the shadow. The shadow is, I lost my train of thought. The shadow is optional. You do not have to have it. So if I want it without the shadow, I can. Then my understanding is the next thing I have to do is upload both of these, which I shall. That is not what I wanted. Why? Oh, I don't have that because I'm in the images. Cool. Let me actually let me switch off of this here real quick, since you've seen that, and let me actually open that up. Let's take a look at it. I always like seeing what other people do too because it gives me ideas. Okay, so. Oops, I gotta be on the right screen. Hang on, let me upload these two files real quick. What did I call it? Oh yeah, map reticle. So I'm just gonna upload these two, the graphic and the shadow. And let's see, while we're at it, let's look at this here. Okay, so cities and roads. Okay, so I'm guessing this is. Oh, I see them now. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so they're really hard to see at the maximum zoom. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very simple, very clean. I like that a lot. I like to see things that are easy to understand. What I'm doing with mine is I created this because I have a floor plan of a tavern, and I just wanted to have something different inside of it so that you could easily see, okay, this is where I click for stuff. So let's see here. Did I upload my files? Yes, I did. There they are. So now what I need to do is go into Studio to map pins. We're going to create a new map pin and see how this works. Let me move this out of the way a little bit. There we go. So this will be map reticle. Goes on the base theme. Pin image is going to be map reticle. Shadow image is going to be map reticle shadow. The anchor point. So this is the point where the pin is with the map. Now normally that's at the bottom and halfway across the icon, but that's not the way this one is designed to work. So I know that I'm 250 tall, so it's going to be 125. I'm sorry, no. It's going to be 75 by 125. That should put the anchor point dead center. And the pop-up point we want to have at the pop-up point we want to have at, in the X we want it at 75, and the pop-up point we want at 125. And let's see how that works. We're going to create the map pin. So that's what the map pin looks like. And now I'm going to try to put it onto my map. Yeah, Delian, totally get it. Yeah. But you've got the assets built, which is awesome because then you can just drop them in. So I'm going to go to this map. and open it up. And we'll see how this looks. So I'm going to put a new pin in. Choose your pin type. Map reticle. Look at that, right at the top of my list. And we're going to drag it right into the kitchen here to start with. And it's just going to say kitchen. It doesn't actually go anywhere, and I'm doing this just to test it out. I'm going to create the marker and see what happens. All right, so now I want to see what it looks like actually in presentation mode. So crossing fingers that this looks right. All right. So that's not terrible. I don't like the fact that that pop-up is kind of small. And also the pop-up is in way the wrong place. But as you can see, that looks pretty much like I wanted it to look. So now let's just go and fix the actual pin location. So I've got to go through, and let's kind of take a hang here. So that this should have been up there. So I've obviously way written this wrong. Now you're expecting this little land there. and your point? What are you trying to say? Let's see. So the anchor point. All right. Pop-up anchor point where the pop-up triangle will be centered. Okay, so I said X. 75. You're assuming there will be a kitchen left. You see, I don't like doing dishes. Okay, so the pop-up triangle will be centered. Okay. So if I look at this, X of 75, oh, in relation, it's probably in relation to that point. So what I want is minus 125 and 0. I'll bet that's what it is. Can't be 0 though. All right. 1 and minus 125. Let's see that, and let's see what happens when I do that here. Survey says, let's see where it comes up. Yeah, that's how you, I mean, come on. I was a bachelor once. All right, so there we have our reticle. It's a little high. So it is from here. So we just want minus 75. Now let's see how that looks. So with any luck, this should put it right at the top, as I'd like it. All right. That works. And I can always go back in here into my maps and move it as I like. Now, I'll probably create a smaller version. But I also want to create a square one. So my learning process at this point has been that A, the center is in relation to the bottom left corner of the icon. So X and Y. But the point for the pop-up is in relation to that point where it touches the map. So if I've set the center to be here, and you can see that that's kind of what it gives me, although it gives me the whole icon. But if I set the center to be here, then I have to set where I want this, the triangle for the pop-up to be from relative to that point. I think that made sense. It's kind of weird, though, because it looks like it counts it backwards, at least in the Y. Because it says it's going this way. Everything else seems to be working fine, so... And if I go into... Can I drag this? Nope. But if I go into the map itself here to edit... Alright, so I learned that quickly. So like I said, most of these are set to be 35 by 60 icons, with the shadow being wider, 82, so that you have room for the shadow. It all depends on how big you want the shadow. My shadow only extends really about maybe 6 pixels, 8 pixels past the icon. So it's really not all that noticeable. I did just notice by looking at it that the shadow kind of cuts off on the edges. So I might want to go back and shrink everything down just a little bit so that they show up. But, I mean, that works for me. And I can always move this wherever I like. That's probably a better place in the kitchen. Save the... Oh. That should have saved it, I'm guessing. See if it did. Yep. Saved it right where I wanted it. Middle of the kitchen. All right. Now, that may be the only downfall of this, is as I scale this, that icon gets huge. My, oh my. Now, in this case, there's really only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these going in. But I can tell right away, 2 of them would overlap pretty greatly. So, back over here, I'm going to scale both of these down to about half that size. And first thing I'm going to do is actually scale these so the shadow stays within. Let's see. All right, so that's a little smaller. I can actually move it up and make it a much smaller image. We're going to crop this. All right, so now I have an image that's 127 by 146, and that's still kind of big. So I'm going to bring it down to a size that's closer to the original icons. So that'd be about 60 by 70. Well, let's document, resize it. I'm going to make it about 80 tall. Resize that. Of course, once I zoom out, that'll look a bit nicer. That's at 100%, so that's not bad at all. All right, once again, I'm going to output these. That's the shadow. And we're going to call this map reticle 2 shadow. And we'll switch over. File. Two. Well, that was dumb, Leo. The Kahuna messed that one up. File. Export. Yep, replace it. All right, so now I should be able to go back in and upload those two. So let's do this. Upload. Upload my icon and its shadow. And now I can go back into Studio with the map pins. I can close that. Diagonal. Whoops. Map. Reticle. Small. Not MARP. Map. Pin image is going to be Mac 2. Shadow is that. Anchor point. So again, I made this 60 by 70 by 80 roughly. So we're going to say that it's 35, 40. And then the pop-up point should be 35. No, it should be 0. Or -1 to -40. All right, so let's go back and try that one on the map. It's definitely smaller. And this map actually is one I've been working on the last couple days. Let's change this map pin. Now let's see what it gives us. I'm going to bet it's a lot closer to what we were looking for in terms of size. Oh, yeah, there we go. So it's still a fairly good size when we're zoomed out, but as we zoom in, it gets smaller. So, all right. That was a lot easier than it looked. And again, just remembering the different things you need to do. Another trick that I'm going to try at some point here, and it's probably going to involve some CSS, is to actually have the tags, the pop-ups, appear inside of the icon, inside of the pin. So create like a frame, and when they click on it, or when they hover, it pops up inside of the frame, preferably in its own color with no background, so that you can still see the artwork beneath it and have it fit nicely. So that's going to be some work on that. But that's not bad. I also, let's see how this looks. So I also did a night mode for this, and that still looks pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Yeah. I had been doing these manually by dropping in a gradient of another color in circular fashion, and then erasing the areas that overlapped wrong and all that. Then I discovered that Affinity has lighting tools that are really quite good. So for example, each of these is what they consider a point source. Makes sense. It's a single point of light spreading out. But you can tell it to add texture. So what it does is it actually, as it adds the lighting, it finds edges in the image, and you can see how it highlighted the wood and the front edges of the chairs. It's a little much on the carpet, but I'll accept it. It's a raised area of the carpet. What the heck? But yeah, some of these just look really awesome because it gives it a real solid texture. And as you move away, then you see less of that texture because, of course, the light's faded. Here you can see that it's lighting up the cracks in the table. The floor is lit well. So, I can go in a little later and at some point add in actual little flames to the lanterns and so on. It did the same kind of texture here in the kitchen, the floorboards. Picked up the roughness of the stone really well. And then the planks in this floor really did a nice job picking up the edges in the planks. So I'm really happy with that, and that's probably the way I'm going to do my lighting going forward. Now, the other thing that I didn't think of and should have was a couple things, actually. One, I was applying these lighting effects directly to a layer, which works. The only way you can really make that work easily for you is to actually do a selection of that layer. So, for example, I did in this meeting room area, I basically selected the inside edges of the walls, and then applied the filter, and they're live filters, so you can change them at any time. But then applied the filter and did everything I need to, and boom, there it is. I hadn't been doing that selection, so I was having to go back in and erase the lighting that had overlapped on the walls and all that stuff. Much simpler doing it this way because it looks like it just goes to the walls and dies. The other thing that I hadn't realized is you can actually, in Affinity, create a separate live filter layer. So it just sits on top of whatever else you got. Why does that matter? Well, because one downfall in Affinity is it doesn't remember settings in terms of the live filter. So when I would set up a light, I would have to go back in and reset the ambient light, reset the light at the point source, and reset the color of the light as it moved away, reset opacity, reset everything every time I went to create a new room. You can do multiple light sources in a room very easily. And in fact, you can copy one and just paste it and move it into its right place and do everything, which is exactly what I did down here in this room. You know, in this particular room, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different light sources. So I basically just did one and then copied and pasted and moved them all around and put them in the right place, the rest of them. But what I found out is because you can actually create a live filter layer separately, you can just save that layer. And so therefore, simply repeat that layer over and over. And when you're done, just merge them into one layer. So I could have gotten much more quickly had I known about that. So that's probably something I'll do in the future to make things faster when I'm adding lighting effects, because I really do like to be able to show a different look for the place, you know, daylight versus nighttime. So I think it gives more character, and in my stories, I want to be able to have people see this. I do wish there was a way, map-wise, that we could have a layer be the default different from the normal default. So for example, this one, when it comes up in the day mode. I would love to be able to have it come up in the night mode, so that if somebody's reading a part of the story, when they go to the map, or if they look at the map in a page, it's already in night mode. That's a really nice to have. That is not a gotta have. That's a, gosh, if the World Anvil gods smiled upon me, this would be a nice to have, but there are plenty of other things I want more than that. So, kind of fun. I had fun with this. Like I said, I worked on this map. It took me about 2 days to get this map right, or this floor plan, and then it took me probably an hour, maybe 90 minutes to do the lighting effects. So I really like the way that came out. In fact, I may go back on some of my older maps and re-add the lighting effects with this new, because I love the way it works. The only thing it doesn't seem to do, and I could make it do that, is it doesn't do shadow very well. You have to add some type of bump map, which I may do at some point. If I really want to get crazy with it, I may add a bump map in, because then it would cast shadows, and that would be super cool. If I really want to get wonky with the shadows, I can go in and erase them out as I go. At this point, this looks fine. It's just there's enough diffuse light that you don't really see the shadows, and you know, I made sure that there are areas where I have kind of scuffed up the floors to make them look more, and it adds a shadow to itself. You can see the scuffs more here, where it's scuffed. The entrance to the kitchen is very scuffed up. Why? You know, obviously they're going in and out with food. I had to come up with an alternate story for one thing, which was Why is there no cooking vessel or cooking appliance in the kitchen? My story is it's outside. That they grill everything outside because otherwise the smoke would just kill the kitchen. So they grill and cook everything outside and then bring it in. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. I just retconned it. It was after I was all done. The missile got it. Yeah. That's why they keep a barrel of water in there. You know, just in case there's another missile. But yeah, they go outside to cook, then they bring it in. So you're getting stuff that's cooked in the fresh air. I'm going to have to change my description of the place for that, but that's okay. My world, my rules. So that is adding a map pin. I like that. I do like the way that looks. But I'm going to work on some more of stuff like that later. What else we got? So other than that piece for a client, what else are you working on, Delian? I got to say I hired someone to do some freelance art, and I've mentioned this on the stream before, and I won't mention who they are. I did I started the commission back in, I want to say April. Nanoplotting and scheming. Well, and that takes time. Wait, there's a new devlog? Oh, the D&D game sheet. I started up this commission back in, let's see, be exact about it. Actually, right at the beginning of May. May 3rd is actually when I requested when I put out the word for a commission. Had 2 people say yes. Both of them took deposits. One was €70. Can't remember what the other one was. I'll have to look it up at some point. So let me see if I can do this without outing anybody. Yeah, not that way. So let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. Let's see if that works. So this is they after 5 months, we got to the point where I originally had asked for backgrounds. They can't do the backgrounds. This definitely looks like a work in progress, and they're definitely in feel close to what I want, but maybe I expected more. Not thoroughly happy with it. I don't know. They've reduced the price because I'm not getting a background. They just don't have time to do it. But wow. Yeah, I mean, I know with the pandemic, people have gotten stuck. One of the artists that I commissioned, 2 artists do basically the same thing, for different reasons. I liked the styles of both of them, and I wanted to see which one I liked more to use as my character art going forward. But man, the other one I have not heard from in, oh gosh, let me check here. I want to say it's been 2 months. Let's see. Actually, I have not heard from them since July. So, looks like we got borders coming. Welcome aboard, everybody. Hello. The gangplank is down. You may board at will, or at anyone else that you'd like to board at. Just don't be bored. So, yeah, I'm had a commission artist disappear after I'd gotten several pieces. What about her? I hope she's still alive. Yeah, I can understand that. Mine, I mean, one is a gentleman who actually came highly recommended, but ran into some stuff and was not doing well. But let me see if I can. Let's see if I can do this here real quick. So you can see this style is a little different from the previous one. The character here is the same character that's in red over here. I didn't specify colors. Didn't specify hair color. This one looks like it's much more 3D rendered. And, you know, I like the style. This is an early thing, but I haven't seen anything. Like I said, on this one, I haven't seen anything since July. And I've tried at least once a month to touch base and go, hey, what's up? And nothing. The other one is close to being done, but again, and here's the one I guess that hurts a little. The other one, I was showing you a minute ago, this one here. Whoops. Let me see. They also got a deposit. And I want to say the deposit was fairly significant. Yeah, it was a $100 deposit and it was $70 for the other. And the guy with this one told me, he says, look, this is going to take a while because he was giving me a deal on the price, and that's fine. So I haven't really bugged him, but at this point we're 5 months out and all I've seen is this. So I may be looking for commission artists again. So if you are in that vein, jump into my Discord and leave a message there, where I can see some of your work. Because look, guys, I ain't rich. This isn't making me tons of money right now. Very little, but I appreciate what I get. But I'm also willing to pay for, you know, good, solid work. I just hate paying for something and not getting anything, or getting something that's not representative of what I was shown as a sample. So. Awesome, Delian. If I need birds, you are the first one to come to. Actually, what I need is dragons. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing some of my own characters in Epic. Well, that's cool. I've been doing some of mine in Epic Character Generator, but they all, to me, look the same, so... Neat Shadowrun NPC again to commission art of. Yeah, I mean, I have right now... Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got at least a dozen characters, if not more, that I could, do, that I could offer commissions on if I got somebody to work with. Boarded, prepare to be. I am prepared. Welcome, Siobhan. NPC who I got 2 makers of is retired, so feels wrong. Well, okay. Thinking orc lady with a few nice big guns. Or are we talking guns or are we talking guns? Neither of which I have. You know what you could do with those other ones though? Put them in the background of some scenes. Kind of like they walk in and see a portrait of this individual. Both. Wish I could afford to pay an artist. I have tons of stuff I want illustrated, so much I could probably take one on full time for a while. Wow. Yeah, you know what? I probably do too. But my big thing right now is, hey Daz, welcome. Hope work went fine this afternoon. Late, but was dealing with something in Discord. That's totally fine. So my thing is I gave them the basic descriptions of each character. I gave them the links onto my worlds that here's the basic descriptions of each character. Show me what you see. Because I like seeing what an artist pictures in their head. And my Wi-Fi is playing up again. Oh, great. I like seeing what the artist sees in their head and how they bring it out. So other than a few, important details, for example, I have the one guy who is rather large. The guy to his left is supposed to be a fighter. The one to the far right is very mysterious and is actually, this is the character that I've been writing as non-binary. So they cover up. So you can't really tell. You can see kind of a form there, but it could be either way, which is intentional. Going to lurk and get some more rest. Don't need that other track of pain. No, please don't. I know you were not feeling well earlier. Please, 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 please take care of yourself. So I've got these characters, but that's basically all I gave them. I said, this one is mysterious. This one's a big guy. One's a fighter. One has just graduated from the Magical Academy. But she's feisty and bit of a fireball. That's what I gave them. Go, run with it. Because what I'm looking for is to kind of gel a picture in my mind. There's only one character so far that I really have a solid picture of in my mind. Let me pull him up real quick. And this is actually the title character of my stories. And that is Hargus Hurryhouse. And Hargus, I have had the picture in my mind pretty much since day one. He's been here. So him, I did specifically myself to be able to dictate exactly this is how I want him to look. Even so, my kid tried their hand at it. Did okay. It's a very cartoony version, but that's their style of drawing. But that's Hargis there. So, let's see, do I have a big? I think I have a bigger. Not really. Well, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. I went to the character profile. This is my kid's version of him. Not a bad job. And actually, even behind there, that's his logo, his Double H logo. So that one I knew. So I kind of did that one myself using ePic character generator to create someone along those lines. Slightly graying hair, slightly, but still a big guy. He's not ostentatious, but anyway. But I wanted to have, besides him, I wanted to have the other characters so that I could start seeing them better in my head. Because right now, I've got some basic ideas, but they're just not gelled. And so I'm having a hard time visualizing physical mannerisms and that kind of stuff, which to me could add flavor. Yeah, I can make them up. But if I do and then see somebody come up with a piece of artwork for it that I go, oh, no, that's really that person, I might have to go back and say that doesn't really fit. So I'm kind of hemming and hawing. So that has been my experience, unfortunate as it has been so far with commissioning. So hopefully you guys have had better experiences than that. Yeah, I have been going back and forth about opening up commissions for voice work. I probably will. I haven't done the homework enough to be able to put out a commission page, which I should. But one of the things I have sworn to myself is that if I offer a commission, and I think this is true for anybody who offers commissions. If I offer a commission, I will underpromise and overdeliver. If you ask me for something 2 weeks from now, probably made starting doing commissions a bit more tricky. Yeah, well, no, because you know what you would want, so you deliver that. I believe that if somebody asks me for something and wants it in 2 weeks, unless I can do it in one, I'm probably not going to promise 2 weeks. I'd rather get it done and then hand it to them and go, hey, here you go. Oh, you got it done in a week? Yeah, things worked out. But what I never want to do is tell someone 2 weeks and have it be 3. Or 2 weeks and a day. And I have a lot on my plate at any given time. Besides streaming, I'm a dad, I'm a husband. I do a Scotty. Which Scotty? A Star Trek Scotty or a thicker Scott? Because I can. I actually discovered one in the shower today. Something ran through my head and it popped out and I did it in the shower. I was like, oh, I forgot I could do that voice. And that was, of course,
your lack of faith is disturbing.
I don't know if you can even hear that. I'd have to do it around the mic better. Always tell the captain more time than they actually need. Absolutely. People are almost never, because I don't do absolutes most of the time. It's an absolute. Very rarely, let's put it, hello, Darth Kahuna, yes.
The force is strong with this one.
Most people will not be unhappy if they get something faster than they expected, as long as the quality is what they expected. Most people will cut you a little slack if you're a little late on something. But if that becomes your norm, they'll go away. People's time is valuable, not just the artists, but the person who is asking for the commission. Both people's time is valuable, and so you have to respect their time just as they should respect you. My kid has been doing commissions lately. She's got that oral synesthesia kind of thing going on, where I keep saying she. It's not she. They. I slip. They do this thing where they hear voices and in their mind see colors, swirling colors, jagged. They see a color image, and has done a couple of them, for friends who've said, "Hey, what does my voice look like?" Knocks it out. Well, in the last couple weeks, they've had a few people ask them if they would do it, if they would take a commission to do one. And it only takes them about an hour to do one, based on what they hear. Basically, these folks send in an MP3 of their voice, and they do a drawing. So one of the things I told my kid was, look, be very careful. Always pad your time. Not necessarily in that you're going to milk the time for someone else, but always estimate more time. For example, for me, if I know I can do a project in a day or two, I'm never going to promise you less than a week. And frankly, I'll probably say 2 weeks, unless you really need it faster. Now, I might get it done in a day or two and give it to you. Hey, things worked out. But things also happen. People get sick. Things come up. I want to pad my time. And so the way I look at it is, give yourself, let's say you want to do your commissions 10 hours a week. Now, what does that mean? 10 hours a week means, could you add 2 hours and do something else? Sure. Could you add 10 hours? Maybe. You can always decide whether you want to add some additional work to fill in gaps. But if you stick with that, well, I'm going to work 10 hours. I want to do this for 10 hours a week. And you schedule yourself that way, and you look at it and go, okay, well, this job's going to take 4. This one's going to take 2. All right, now you've got 6 hours of the week taken up. You can always go into your other time a little bit to finish these jobs, but you're not killing yourself. And the minute you hit 10 hours, let's say you get one job and you go, okay, this one's going to take probably about 10 hours to do. Now you're scheduling for the following week. Boom, you're a week out now. Again, you might get some stuff done. You might get done earlier, but you're not killing yourself. One of the biggest things I've seen artists do, musicians, painters, sketch artists, everybody, is turn what they love into a chore. When you do that, you don't want to do it anymore. You need to keep what you love healthy. If you love to draw, you need to keep that healthy. At any time you feel like, I have to get this done, I have to get that done, you're pushing too hard. You're not going to create your best work. You're going to be dissatisfied with what you do. You run the potential of having a client be dissatisfied because it's not up to your normal speed, and you're going to start to resent the work. I have a friend I've known since elementary school, 4th grade. He's a prime example of this. From the time I knew him, his mother was convinced he was going to be a concert pianist and organist. He had the full double manual organ with the foot pedals and everything in his house. He was phenomenal. He could transpose music on site. You could literally put a sheet of music up there and he could transpose it to a different key on site. All I need is 2 steps up. Boom, he'd do it. Absolutely amazing. When stuff for choir in middle school came up, he played. He was the piano player for the musicals. And then he quit. Just decided, I'm not going to do it anymore. Completely gone. His mom passed away, and he just didn't touch stuff anymore. Well, one day I went to go visit him where he worked. He worked in a theater. And this was an old theater built in 1929 and has a real pipe organ. Massive pipe organ. It's beautiful. And I went and I came in through the backstage door. And the theater was dark. And I was delighted to hear the overture from Phantom of the Opera being played joyously through that pipe organ. It was amazing. This empty, I think it's about 1,000-seat theater. And it's, like I said, it's 1929. It's the high ceilings, the balcony, concrete walls that reverberated, and the wood, and it was amazing. I could hear it, and I walked out on stage to see who was doing it. And there was my friend. And he kept going, and then he looked, saw me, and stopped. And that shocked me. He knows I know he plays. And then he explained why. And that was, for so many years, he had played for somebody else. His mother pushing him, the school wanting him to do it. He's this child prodigy and all this. He wasn't ever playing for himself. He wasn't playing stuff he wanted to play. He was playing what everybody else wanted him to play. He felt like he was their dancing monkey. He didn't want to be anybody's monkey anymore. So he stopped playing. That day he decided for himself he was going to play. But he had been so scarred, so traumatized, so fed up with being the monkey for everybody else that he just stopped. And he won't play for almost anybody else. He has worked with Elton John almost every year in the last, I would say, at least 10. When Elton John does his Oscar party for the Elton John AIDS Foundation, he does all, or he has been doing the lighting and video and everything for the after party, for the party. He's met Elton many times, and he has sat down at Elton's piano. And he's played it for himself. Don't put yourself in that place. If you're an artist, don't put yourself in that place. If you're going to do commissions, but make sure they stay fun. Make sure they're still what you want to do. Make sure they're to your standards and enjoy it. Because if you aren't, you will burn out. You will absolutely burn out if you don't continue to enjoy it. I'm doing what I do now. When I'm doing these streams, when I'm doing the voice stuff, or I'm doing a map, or I'm doing whatever I'm doing it because I'm really enjoying it. We're getting to a point where financially it might get a little more difficult for me to just be able to do it. We'll know probably by the end of the year. But the joy it brings me to do these things, even those days when I'm mashing out CSS code and it's beating me up and I just... I still enjoy it. I have taken my laptop to bed and worked on code sitting in my bed. I enjoy it. And that makes me happy. If I can make a few bucks at it, awesome. But I'm still going to do it. And that, I think, is the real key. If you're going to do commissions, will you still do it if you're not making any money? And if you can still say that, then awesome. You're off to a wonderful, wonderful start. But if you're only doing it because you're making the money, you'd rather be doing something else, it won't last. It just won't. Go and get a cubicle job. Do that. Because if you're going to not like what you're going to do, well, there are easier ways to make money than being an artist. You gotta love what you're doing. Have I preached enough? I see so many talented people on a daily basis. A lot of you are right here, right now. You're talented. I am in awe. I believe I am a proverbial jack of all trades. I can learn the basics of just about anything very, very quickly. There are some things I have depth in. I'm a mean Trivial Pursuit player. But I learn from you guys on a daily basis. You know, we looked at earlier, I was looking at one of Delian's maps. And now it's way back up, and let me see if I can find it in my history here. There it is. And this map here is simple. I'm always trying to make something so detailed. Doggy bio break. Go. Do not delay the doggy. We know what happens then. Ask me about my pet peed sometime. It's good stuff. I'm always trying to put extra stuff in, but look at the beauty of the simplicity of this. The capital. That's it, kids. That's what the capital looks like. Towns. Large towns. Very simple, very easy. What can I say? These are awesome. I, unfortunately, have not learned the art of simplicity. I haven't. I'm 55 years old, almost 56, and I have not learned how to be simple about things yet. This is beautiful. And the fact, Dillian, that you draw all this makes me crazy. Where the markers have tiny little buildings. Oh, wow. But again, Simple. Your style is just wonderful. I really, really like it. I mean, it's clean. I'll be honest, I don't have that patience. I don't. This is just splendid work. I don't know about you guys. I'm one of these guys, drives my wife nuts. Mrs. Kahuna just tunes out, but I tend to watch things. One of my favorite YouTube channels is Tested with Adam Savage, especially Adam's specific videos, because I learn every time. I learn something, even if it's, for example, he had a tool today. It's a tool I have in my toolbox. It's an angle finder. I know how basic it works, but he showed why it's even better than I thought it was. I thought, how did I not know that? I've had the tool for 25 years. How did I not know that? All right, take a look at the big one. Let's take a look. I'm brave. Let's see what happens. I find it's not the map that slows things down. It's Chrome. Wow, that is a big map, though. Woohoo! All right, so I need to turn the pins off. Okay, so now... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's marvelous. That's wonderful. That is amazing, Dillian. That is, oh. Little tiny buildings. I see you've got the hex is just faded back slightly. And the compass rose also just slightly there. This is beautiful. Yeah, that is, wow. I'm wondering, how long did it take you to do this map? Because I know you draw each of those little trees. Good night, Macaro. Have a great night. Thanks for stopping in. And good luck on the changes that they're implementing starting tonight. This is... How long does it take you, Delian? I am highly curious. And I love the charcoal look of the mountain textures. And again, it's simple, and yet there's such wonderful detail in its simplicity. I mean, oh, man. Consider me jealous at your skills, my friend. This is absolutely beautiful. Wow. That is a great map. 6 months, so simplistically detailed. Yeah. I mean, the details, each individual detail is not fancy or overwrought. But in concert, it makes an incredible amount of detail. So what do you think, Dillian? Would that have taken you 2 months? A month? That's insane. That is just so awesome. I even like this. This is one of the areas that really I have not been successful at, is doing things like cliffs. And that is wonderful. Well, you've all seen the link for it, so you can go and pop this link if you want inspiration. This is it right here. Also, I've watched Alien on his streams, and it's just watching them work is it's awesome. That is beautiful. Yeah, see, and I love watching people work. I like watching Delian work. I like watching Kaora work. I like watching there's another guy, what's his name? Steve something. He does characters. Awesome work. I like watching YouTube videos of people putting together decks and pouring concrete, and makers. I love makers. I love people who think of something in their head and go, I can build that. Could probably get it done in 2 months, maybe 3. Yeah, that's, wow. Seriously impressive. I just can't say enough. That is impressive. I learn a lot by watching people who do things. I will admit it right up front. I have some artistic skill. I definitely have imagination. One of the things that takes most time is actually figuring out what to put on the map and how to fill it up nicely. That makes total sense. I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. One of the reasons I watch all these different videos and tutorials and everything is I want to learn. It's funny because there'll be some project. Oh, hang on. I have a pooch who wants out. Here you go, Matt. Come on. Out you go. There you go, bud. Apparently the dog needed his bio break. My wife always looks at me and says, how did you know how to do that? I read something. I watched something. I am a sponge for these things. I am a junkie for these things. I will sit and watch them because it's watching craftsmen work. Absolutely just mesmerizes me. I have my map mapped out but not rendered. I was kind of stumped how to go about it. Well, there's an example. There's one there. Yeah, that's just wow. No, Kahuna, you're going to stick with your map making. That's my big problem is I see something and I just go, oh, I should no, don't change your style right now. I can try it on a different map later. My big thing lately has been really kind of trying to get things like my interior maps, like floor plans, get those done more successfully. Let's see if I can show you another one that I've got. I've really been working on the floor plans and stuff a lot. Oh, it's definitely squirrel. Definitely squirrel. I'm terrible about it. I'm terrible. I always have to have multiple projects going on just so that I can work on them. There it is. So this was another floor plan I did. This was for back in some battle maps and battle maps are still things you need to learn. And it's funny, I'm the other way around. Battle maps are not too tough for me. Settlements are okay. The big world maps really still struggle with. But this was actually one of the summer camp projects. This was the building one. Whoa, hey, 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 hey. It's zooming out way too much here. Kill my computer and it's got everything stuck on it now. So yeah, so this one is another one of these, and this is where I started using Affinity to draw the maps, because I had assets that I could put in. Hey, welcome back, Daz. Hopefully the bio break went well. But again, this one, you know, I laid in floors, different textures on the floors, the staircases in the two upper kind of silo towers. Started working with lighting a bit, and you can see how I tried to work the shadows in, give it a little bit more realism. But this was my first real attempt at this kind of a thing. So it's not as good as I would have liked. I will probably go back and redo it. But, you know, it works. And every time I do one of these, I realize, okay, well, this didn't work or this didn't work. Had to bark at some deer who ignored him. You know, as deer do. Yeah, I mean, I look at this and go, yeah, I really just didn't complete this. I mean, I'm looking at things like I've got rooms that have candles going, and others that don't. I have dark areas and hallways that probably should have light. The light overlaps too heavily in some places, not enough in others. So, but I learned a lot on what I was doing with this. So when I made my next one, then it was much easier to say, okay, this is how I want things to work. And this particular map that we're looking at here took me probably 3 days. The one I put up today, 4 hours. So I'm learning to be much more proficient at doing it and have a higher level of quality while I'm at it. So, you know, I'm at no point in this am I at a point where I would say, hey, hire me. And if somebody did ask me, it would be a fairly cheap thing, because I'm not super confident in my skill set yet. And so I wouldn't want to charge someone, you know, a proper amount for a guy who's still learning. But again, we all have to learn, and we all have to figure out how we learn. This was the Temple of Cleansing. So that's where we're at. Look, it's Hargis. Did I get back to there we go. Right 100%. So where are we at? Well, we got about 35 minutes left. We're all always learning. Yeah. If you're not, you stagnate. You won't improve. You won't move forward. You have to learn. And I think more importantly, you have to make mistakes. If you do not make the mistakes, you won't learn. It is an unfortunate reality of human nature. We learn by getting beat up by our mistakes. Some don't even learn then. That's a matter for another time. Excuse me. Hiccup. But for the most part, we learn by making mistakes. We do something wrong, and hopefully we learn why it was wrong, why it didn't work, why it went badly for us, or even if not badly, just not to where we wanted. And we course correct. And we'll course correct, and sometimes we overcorrect. Oh, well, we don't want to go that way either. All right, let's come back here. But eventually, we start to narrow things down until we're right smack where we want to be. And that is the learning process. I'm learning every flippin' day. And I am very, very hard on myself. I have seen a lot of folks, met a lot of folks, both on streams and on Discord and online, who we all seem to suffer from imposter syndrome. That we are never quite as good as we feel we are never quite as good as other people think we are. That somehow we must be fooling those people into thinking that we're better than we are. I am horrible about that. Objectively, if I look at it, I can say, no, I have a lot of decent skills. There's a lot of things I can do. And yet, I doubt myself on a regular basis. I think that's part of the creative process. I think that's part of doing. I think it's part of either being a maker or or any type of creator. You doubt yourself. You're like, you work on something for a while and go, this is awful. What was I thinking? Most of the time, you can walk away from it, come back to it a little later and go, oh, wait, no, I can fix this. This is easier than I thought. No, I'm good. But man, we doubt ourselves so quickly. It's head spinning. Creates anxiety. The self-doubt creates inertia. We don't want to do things because we don't want, and we allow ourselves to snowball. And I hope that, I've had a couple streams here where I tried to show something. I failed miserably. I should have practiced it beforehand. Should have really made sure I knew what I was doing, and should have rebooted the computer before I tried it. It happens. But hopefully when you've seen me fail in those things or not get it done, you learn something too. Okay, well, that's not the way it works. Call that feeling my inner weasel that needs to be put back in its place. That's awesome. Mine's more like a honey badger, but okay. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because I also feel like at this point I'm preaching to the choir a little bit. Yeah, I totally get it. Like I said, mine's kind of like a honey badger. It gnaws. I'm telling you these things and hoping they mean something to you and they help you. And I probably should go back and watch the video on demand of this, because I need to pay attention to these things myself. Because I do all these things, and that's why I know them, because I'm just as guilty of doing them as anybody else. So there's that. All right, so more projects for this week. I'm going to create some more map pins. If you came in later and didn't see the map pin I worked on earlier, I can show you what it looks like. This is my new map pin. Let me zoom in here. And you can see the pin right there in the middle of the screen. It's transparent. You can see through it. I had a larger version that was probably about twice the dimensions in either direction. I'm going to work on one that allows me to put the pop-up inside of it. So it's almost like a framed label. That'll probably be tomorrow. I'll probably do it during Kahuna Quiet. This is just a new project for me. Thanks, Daz. Yeah, it's. I honestly went into creating a new map pin. One, because I wanted to have this look for them. But two, because I thought that's something I can show on stream. And it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. A lot easier. Basically, you create the pin image, create a shadow image to go with it. The first one I made was 250 by 150 in pixels, so it was huge. It was big enough to basically go around that table there, that round table. So I had to downsize it. No big deal. But you create the two images, one for the pin, one for the shadow. The shadow is optional. You don't have to have the shadow. It can be flat. You just don't add the shadow in. Create the two images, upload them, and then if you are a guild member, you have access to Studio. Studio has actually a category for map pins. You go in there. Once you've uploaded the two images, you just tell it which two images to use for the main image and the shadow. Tell it where you want the pin to point to. And what I mean by that is in this one, the location that this pin points to is dead center, kind of like in that bullseye. But you could make it to where it sits on top of it, below it, so on. And then the other thing you tell it is, where do you want the point of that pop-up to sit? So this one I wanted right at the top of it. I actually will probably change it by 1 pixel to the right, so it sits more conveniently. But it's decent looking. I like it. It took me to make this one half an hour to make the image. It's not difficult. If you've used any of your photo editing software, this is a fairly simple one. All using built-in filters and effects, so fairly quick to put together. Oh, excuse me. So I'll make some more during Kahuna Quiet. And yeah, that's the map that it was for. This is the latest map in use in my story. The next map I have to create is a map of an open air market. I do have a map of the town it is in. And of course it's not letting me load it. So that's the basic town. I did actually add, that's the open air market there, I added nighttime effects to it as well. So you can see what it looks like at night. So the next place our intrepid adventurers are going to go to is to that open air market. So they'll be able to go into there and find their next adventure, which is truly their first adventure. After that, they will travel to this farm right here. So I will probably create a more close-up look of the farm, so you get some idea what it's like, and also the blacksmith down here as they will play parts in the upcoming story. And at some point, we're going to leave this area into a forgotten town, a blighted town that's just outside of a mysterious mine. And that map is already done. So, the story progresses. I am going to do something. One of the other things I plan on working on this coming week is my gaming system. The new tables that are available on World Anvil are actually going to help me a lot. I like to create an immersive environment. So I'm basically going to create tables for all kinds of stuff. One of the first ones, excuse me, will be weather. And this will be actually a little bit of a complicated thing, because I don't want just random weather. Hey, today it rained, yesterday it was snow, and tomorrow's, incredibly hot. Hey, Aegon, welcome back. No, what I want is the weather today to be based on what happened the last 2 days or 3 days. So I want there to actually be weather patterns. It doesn't mean you can't have all of a sudden something crazy go on, because it happens. It's mid-October, and here in Southern California, we have 100-degree weather. Forget that noise. So, stuff can happen. But I want the chances of something happening to be based on what has happened in the last few days. So there's, a pattern. Hey, Moonflower. Did you just come in? I didn't see you earlier. So I'm going to use the tables to create, in my gaming system, a weather calculator. So basically you say, okay, well, this happened today. You click on this box. These are the possible outcomes. It takes you to another table. Okay, well, so this is what happened. You click on that. This is what happened the third day. Great. Here is your table for potential weather for that day. Oh, so sorry to hear your sinuses are bothering you. Welcome back to Twitch. So tables, I think, so I'll be working on that. Also, another thing that we have a new dice roller on World Anvil. I have to go play with that because it may make the dice roller I created for my gaming system, it may obsolete it. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure. Where the heck is my mouse? Oh, that's why. When you put your pen on your drawing pad and it won't let your mouse move. Let me show you the dice roller I had created. And yes, this gaming system is in version 0.2. We're very early on. But I created this dice roller. And basically, weather patterns in my world are messed up because ether world affects everything around it. Sure, but you can even systematize that. It simply makes it more random. I want something so it creates systems of things. Also, it will eventually expand out in the sense that, okay, in this cell, this was the weather. These are the likely weather patterns around it, and so therefore you can work your way out and say, okay, well, when that happens, all these other weather patterns change. So it all depends on how detailed you want to get to it. I'm ridiculously liking detail. Anyway, so the way this dice roller works, I'll show you. It's kind of fun. It's based, again, on my system, which is all about just offensive scores and defensive scores. It doesn't do a whole lot of crazy other stuff. So let's say your offensive score is 50. Theirs is 12. We're going to make it awfully low. And you have a +1 modifier. So you have to save the changes and click roll them bones. And what it will do is that particular roll, it does all the exploding, it does everything for you with the 6 dice. And then I don't know if you noticed before, there were the circles, the do not enter circles. This automatically calculates how many dice you're supposed to roll. It's all based on 20-sided dice. Automatically calculates it and gives you a result. So, and there's exploding dice and the whole 9 yards. It's a fun, crazy system that can create massive change, massive failure, and yet keep things in line in case you go up against someone who is way more powerful than you or way weaker. It tries to bring things closer so that you just don't go in and go and kill everything. You still have a significant chance for some type of failure. So in this case, they had 2 success. And 2 success means that they do 2 die 10 of damage, which is a 20. I have to change that because I wanted this all to be 20-sided, and I'm now realizing I'm going to go back and go, look at that. It's all wrong. So I'll be back on working on this stuff too and using the new dice roller and tables to make things a little neater. So that's where my projects will be going for the next week, I think. And then try to get some writing in. So that's that. Got about 15 minutes left. Anything you guys are working on that you might have questions on or need to bounce something off? Pop it in the chat here. We got a few more minutes left. And then I need to figure out who we're going to. Aegon, are you guys going to be up tonight? Because I don't think I've sent anybody to you guys in a while. Nope. Okay. So then it won't be you we raid. And let's see, who's going to be up tonight? Probably somebody already up. That's the one nice thing about going on the half hours instead of the hours, is that there's usually someone up. So Aegon is not up. So it looks like it's going to be Harold's table. Is Harold up? Are they up? Dad's still working on paper battle maps. How is that going? He is like, cool. All right, we'll go to him in a few minutes here. So Daz, how's the battle map? How are the battle maps going? And what scale are you drawing on? Are you doing 1 inch 10 foot or 1 inch 5 foot? I'm just curious. I'll be honest, even when I was DMing back in the dark ages, you know, the 80s, 1 inch 5 foot. Okay. Even when I was DMing in the dark, I never used battle maps. I have nothing against them, we just never used miniatures. We didn't have, there wasn't, you know, back in 80, 81, there wasn't a whole lot of miniatures out there. Certainly not the quality and variety that we have now. And so we did the old paper and pen thing. I drew all my maps on paper. I would give them graph paper so it would be a little easier to draw. I remember drawing them on both hex paper and standard graph paper, quadrille ruled. And I would give them some paper to work on and let them draw their maps as they go and not correct them if they made mistakes. It's their map. Tiny party island that is sinking. Working on part 2 of 4 parts of the island. Okay. All right. So sand jungle-ish, I'm thinking. Maybe some ruins located within. Hopefully a volcano, because hot lava, always a good thing for, for a group. Yeah, back in the Dark Ages, when I started playing D&D, was just pencil, pen, and colored pencils. Excellent. Yeah, when we were playing, we really didn't build modules or adventures. It was just an open-ended campaign. When they got close to finding one thing, I'd drawn up a map for something else and gave them people to run into and cajoled them into the direction they needed to go. I tried not to TPK them. Sometimes they couldn't help themselves. There's a map for each part that gets the minis. Ah, okay. All right. That makes sense. So separate areas of confrontation or of encounter. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I never drew the maps big. 8.5 by 11 graph paper. I lived on those. And my favorite thing was to put in secret doors and traps. They hated me for it. Because the first ones were simple, and then I started getting sneakier when they started figuring them out. My favorite was always the trap door that was triggered when they stepped backward from a trap door. Paper trees and a time paper building. Wow! That's awesome. That's for me in person before tech. Was dry erase boards or map and quick dirty maps. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We weren't far enough along for dry erase yet. Just pencil and paper. And a lot of erasing. A lot. All right, guys. You know what? We seem to be slowing down a little bit. So I think I'm going to send you over to Harold's table a little early. Mrs. Kahuna is making pizza rolls for dinner. No, not the Totino's pizza rolls. These are basically toppings rolled up into pizza dough, cut into pinwheels like cinnamon rolls, and then baked. I have told her she must cover them with cheese. That is a requirement, and it is not optional. So, because cheese. Ms. Otis, you're absolutely welcome. Thank you for being here. As I've said many times before, this stream is nothing without you guys. Yeah, it does sound amazing. It's the first time she's making them. Testing out the sprint point system? Yes, I am. I'm not reporting anything, but it can work. So if you want to toss in something to check it, you can. I still have not figured out whether it is possible to time out those per individual or if one timeout is for everybody. Aiming for speed so I can keep up the intensity of the situation going as they go to different parts of the island. That makes sense. So you keep things going, and then when they get to an encounter, there they are. Makes sense. But yeah, I've got the sprint point system up, so people can see what it is. Not spirit, sprint for Game of Tomes. Turby. Oh yeah, you guys had Canadian Thanksgiving. I forgot about that. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes, sprint. Yes. So for Game of Tomes, I've been ready too much today. I do not have a house in Game of Tomes, minor or major. I am simply going to be a collector of points and a reporter of points. So once Game of Tomes starts here in 18 days, I will be recording points for you guys. Huh. Okay, let me see what they look like on mine. Ah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'll rename them. I'll probably just put GOT and the name of the house. Yeah, because on mine it's actually cutting it off. The name is actually in there. Mercenary Bannermon. I actually have a banner that I made. Oh, can I put it up quick? Let me see. Probably can. Image. Give me a second here and I'll find it. I call this banner. Oh, my pleasure, Table. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do, Bob, is just GOT. GOT dead guys. I like it. All right, let me see. Do I have banner here? No, it's up there. Should be here. Oh, maybe it was there. Hang on. I don't remember where I put it. Oh, there it is. Egg. Nope, I didn't put it there either. 1 second, because, you know, I got a couple of those there. Maybe it's under video assets. I'm at that point where everything is just all over the place. No. There it is. There it is. I am Kahuna the Collector. There's no house. It's just me. Me and my buddy, Miracle Max. Yeah, I wanted something that kind of just said what I'm doing. Kahuna the Collector. Makes sense. Probably needs to be a little smaller, I think. Hard to read, but thank you very much. Thank you. I thought that was a fun way to do it and be supportive. My streams on Kahuna Quiet now are my sprints. Timers are working. There's 15 different voices announcing them. I'll probably do some more by this weekend because Mrs. Kahuna is leaving town, which means I can stay up all night doing things and nobody will ask me to come to bed. So yeah, that's my version of Boys Night Out is I stay up all night playing video games and doing voices. So, and that starts Thursday night. So Mrs. Kahuna will not be here for Kahuna happy hour on Friday. You never know, she may pop in through chat. But SoCal Grumpy will be here, so there will be two of us in here again. He is my brother from another mother. I make no promises. This may be a little bit more of a goofy stream than even with me and Mrs. Kahuna. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. I will be back tomorrow for Kahuna Quiet. I have changed my times for Kahuna Quiet. I'm now saying 8:30. That is because I'm having trouble getting here by 8. I will likely be on before 8:30. But at least if I say 8:30, I'm not late. Under promise, over deliver. That was that whole speech earlier. So, I'm going to send you guys off to Harold's Table. Thank you again, everyone, for popping in. You guys are what makes this stream fun to do. And I love doing it. I'm having a great time with it. Tell a friend. You know, let people know. Come on in. We're going to be doing this as long as I can afford to do it. So have folks come on in, and we'll have a good time. And definitely come in for Kahuna Help, a happy hour on Friday, because it's going to be goofy and it's going to be fun. When Grumpy and I get together, it's an event. Need to make a video to show how the points reporting system works. Absolutely. Send me a message on Discord and let me know what you need, and let's work from there. Absolutely. I've got time this weekend. I am absolutely interested. Absolutely want to help. Like I said, I've got extra time this week, so let's do it. Oh, and thank you. Redoing that got started today. Awesome. All right, you guys. I'm going to send you over to Harold's Table. Give him a big aloha from me. I'm going to go and eat my wife's pizza rolls. And when we're ready to go, we'll go. Hopefully see you guys tomorrow morning for sprints, or I will see you on Friday. Have a great night, you guys.